Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the channel. My name is Sky, and today I am super excited to bring you a musket spec that dominates the mid-range and is super aggressive. The build we're going to be discussing is the Muskateer. What's so strong about this spec is you could be right in the thick of battle, pumping out those musket shots and be very effective at it. What we're going to be going over is strengths and roles of the Muskateer, talent selections for duels in open world as well as outpost rush, super important armor information that maximizes the amount of armor you have while staying in the medium armor set, gems and stats, perks you should look out for, and finally some good weapon pairings with this build. Hope you all are ready to go over this bloodthirsty musket spec, because I am. Going over some of the strengths of the Muskateer is that it is the most versatile musket spec by far in the game. This build pretty much has Batman's utility belt around its waist. You have nice damage, good debuffs, solid amount of sustained healing, AoE damage, and a bit of control. It's a true jack of all trades. Another strength is that it's incredibly durable. Using the exact armor combination we're about to show you min-maxes the amount of armor you get while staying in the medium armor set. It has great burst setup with traps, and it is very mobile due to the movement speed and reduced energy cost on rolls from the dexterity attribute. Those are some of the strengths. Now let's move on to the talent trees. Okay, so we're in game now, and to flesh out this Musketeer build, here you're going to be your main three core abilities. It's going to be traps, it's going to be powder burn, and it is going to be sticky bomb. These three right here give you a nice amount of sustained damage with powder burn and, constant pressure with sticky bomb, and then good crowd control / burst setup with traps as well. So after that, we're going to grab backdraft for the 12% damage while they're on fire, and the increased duration if it's a headshot. We're going to move down the traps ability. We're going to grab trap damage, scent of blood, which gives you 100% healing with your weapon damage while they're trapped. We're going to grab double traps for 2 traps. We're going to grab tactical reload and hustle, which is, almost mandatory in every build for the movement speed and instant reloads. We're going to grab kick them while they're down for the 10% damage while they're slow, rooted, or stunned. Now, this applies to your traps. This applies to crippling powder burn, and that doesn't even count other CC that your teammates would be doing at that time as well. So that's an extra 10% amount of damage that's much needed. We're also going to grab back it up, and then we're going to finally grab in this tree lethal combo for the 20% damage against targets affected by the trapper tree status effect. Now that includes your double traps or your sticky bombs as well. For our last couple points, we're going to grab Salt on the Wounds for the 10% damage for targets below 30% health, which pairs really, really well with the Emerald Gem, because that's an execute damage increase as well. So pairing that with that, they go hand in hand really well. We're going to grab Weakened Defense for the armor penetration. And we're also going to grab, for the final 2 points, I like personally grabbing Empowering Headshot for 10% increased damage after the first critical strike, which usually is your first shot, with the automatic crit on the dexterity tree. And then we're going to grab Called Shot Resupply for cooldown reduction every time we critically strike. So that'll allow us to use all of our abilities more often, which is a major, major win. So we're going to commit to this right here. Now we're going to move toward our attributes. For this build, I think it is absolutely mandatory to grab the 100 Constitution, because you get 10% increased max health by how much physical armor that you have. And you also get the 20% increased stronger health consumables. So you're going to be a lot beefier, at least grabbing the 100 mark. You could also go to 150. That's an option as well for the 10% reduced crit damage. But personally, I like to stick it around 100. Now, talking about dexterity, I like to grab the 300 dexterity talent, because that automatic crit opener with the powder burn gives you a 13-second debuff on that target. So all your attacks will be stronger, you'll get damage bonuses from the debuffs, and it's just a lot more consistent damage because you're also going to be rolling and dodging a lot more while you're wearing medium armor, because the roll is less energy. So for the Musketeer, I like to grab 300 dexterity and minimum 100 constitution. That's pretty much going to be base where you want to be at, like ballpark. Now let's move on to gems as well as armor. Now, armor is very, very important when it comes to this build. You're going to want to have the heavy on the head and chest piece. Then you want to grab medium gloves and medium boots. And then you want to grab light pants. Now, I have light boots right now because I couldn't find any Dex Constitution boots that are good, that were on the market, that were medium. Right now I have light, but for example, if I equip this on right now, you will be at 22.9 on the weight load. So that's 0.1 right under heavy. So that maximizes the amount of armor that you have while staying in the medium range. So that is very, very important to note, and you know, to look out for even on the trade post for you know, certain pieces that weigh a certain amount. It's very, very important to keep note of. Now for gems on the armor, I would recommend, you know, the Onyx gem for physical damage absorption. Since you're going to be taking a lot of physical damage, you're going to be in melee a lot, you're going to be getting hit a lot more. So I would recommend grabbing the Onyx gems for more damage absorption in melee slash, you know, mid-ranged. And for the gems when it comes to your weapons, personally, what I'm rocking right now is the Emerald on my musket, which gives me, you know, extra damage while they're low HP. Pairing this, you know, with the Salt on the Wounds perk is 26% increased damage when targets are below 30% health. That is a major, major damage increase. So what I like to do is tag them a little bit with the musket, go in there with the rapier, deal some damage, get them low, and then execute and back out with the musket or my rapier. Now, I'm rocking right now the ruby on the rapier only because I just bought this weapon and I'm getting a new gem later, but you know, I would potentially run the opal or the emerald on the rapier as well. Since you're going to be dodging a lot, you can get a lot of value out of the opal. I wouldn't recommend the diamond or anything like that. I would recommend either the emerald or the opal for either one of these. They can go really, really well for either of them. Okay, now lastly, to talk about perks. Now, none of these are absolutely mandatory, but they are very, very powerful if you have the chance to use them. Now, number one is the thrust damage you can get on your jewelry, which gives you, if you're going to be using a rapier or a musket, it pretty much just increases your damage by a flat percentage amount, so that's very, very good. Crippling powder burn, you know, pairs with your powder burn ability and makes them slowed by 5 seconds, which also activates some of the passives that you have in the trapper tree. Moving on to our third option would be health. Now, this is a bit more of an off one. You know, personally, I think it could be pretty good. You can get some good value out of it. You can get upwards of maybe 800 to 1,000 HP just from having this perk, so it can be very beneficial. And then, you know, the more obvious one would be resilient. Critical hits deal 5% less damage to you, so, you know, if you can get the resilient perk on some of your gear, it's very, very beneficial to, you know, reducing the amount of damage you take flat percentage-wise from critical hits is, you know, huge for survivability. Some great weapons to pair with this build would be the sword and shield. It would be the rapier, hatchet, or the spear. You want to grab something that will scale off of dexterity as well, so you can, you know, double dip on that damage bonus from putting your points into that. I know the sword and shield has a couple good talents in here that could pair well. The spear is great for executing with the finishing blows perk. I love using the rapier for, you know, getting them to a low health point and then finishing them off with the musket. You know, the hatchet's great for the invulnerability. So these are all, you know, combos that you should think about when, you know, running this Musketeer build. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, that's going to wrap up this video on the Musketeer build. I have had so much fun playing with this build, and I hope you will too. Remember, I stream live on YouTube every Wednesday and Friday night at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard. Hop on in, say hello. I would love to chat with all of you. My name is Sky from the Comeback Kids, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.